We now continue with a presentation on economic solidarity. The process for this will begin with the presentation by Father Bob Maloney, who everybody knows and doesn't need any introduction. After that, there will be an opportunity for discussion at the tables, and Bob will explain that to you. And it will end with a panel with Bob, Greg, and Joe being up here as part of the panel presentation. So without further ado, we welcome into our meeting here this morning Bob Maloney. Bob, it's great that you could be here with us, and please welcome him to this meeting.
I'm delighted to be here with you today to introduce a theme that's very important for the growth, the unity, and the vitality of the congregation of the mission: economic solidarity. Father Greg and I, with the help of Joe Getters, co-authored an article which was published in Vincentian, and which all of you have in your binders under number 2 in 3 languages. All of you've read it in preparation for this session. So, first of all, why economic solidarity? Why do Father Greg, Father Joe, and I think this topic to be so important? Let me offer you 2 reasons. Over the last 2 decades, with your help, namely, the congregation of the mission has expanded enormously into the Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, El Alto and Cochabamba in Bolivia, Tanzania, Russia, the Ukraine, Belarus, Angola, Central Africa, Rwanda, Burundi, Benin, Tunisia, Thailand, and other places. We began a joint mission involving several provinces in Punta Arenas, Chile. We've returned to continental China. And so the congregation is becoming more and more global. We are really a global congregation. But we will be a global community truly only if we live in global solidarity as confreres. Our vocation as members of the congregation of the mission is not just to a particular work. It's not even just to a particular province. It's a vocation to the worldwide mission of the congregation and to our being together worldwide in the service of the poor as friends who love one another deeply, as St. Vincent said. A striking sign of the times in the congregation, as Father Getters said this morning, is that many provinces with increasing personnel have few financial resources, while some of the provinces with diminishing personnel have significant economic resources, even though these resources have been diminished by the current economic crisis and are being heavily drawn upon at times for the care of the aging and the infirm confreres. In that context, our constitutions call us to share our temporal goods with one another, so that the provinces that have more come to the aid of provinces that have less. By fostering economic solidarity among ourselves and among our provinces, we will not only be teaching and preaching about social justice and the church's preferential option for the poor, but we will be practicing what we preach. The challenge, Pope John Paul II said, the challenge is to ensure a globalization in solidarity, a globalization without marginalization. The more our provinces on all levels, including economic solidarity, the more they sense solidarity, the more united and stronger we will be as a global congregation. But this solidarity makes demands not just on the receiving provinces and the giving provinces, it makes demands on both together. So that we hope that receiving provinces, for example, will become more self-sustaining in the future. It's a great challenge to them, that they will maintain a simple lifestyle in the future in accordance with our vows and our evangelical counsels, and that as they choose works, they will envision, as St. Vincent did, how they can fund those works in the future. So, the first reason is that as a global congregation, we must live in global solidarity. The second reason is simpler. The second reason is this: the beneficiaries of economic solidarity will be not just the confreres of the provinces that have fewer economic means, but the poor themselves. If the confreres in our provinces have adequate economic means for initiating sustainable works and creative systemic change projects, then the poor will be much better served by the congregation. And so the ultimate reason why economic solidarity is important is the service of the poor throughout the world. So those are the two reasons underlying everything that we'll say this morning. Now, what has been done and what can be done? So, what has been done? The article that all of you have read in your binder on economic solidarity points out that the congregation has already done an enormous amount to promote economic solidarity since our new constitutions in 1984. For example, over the last 2 decades, numerous initiatives have been launched. The article mentions 8 of those. 1, IMF, the International Mission Fund 2000 and 2004. This fund, which began in 2000, now generates most of the money that the General Curia distributes annually to provinces with fewer economic means. This fund was created with the generous help of the Franz Foundation and several provinces, especially in the United States and Europe. 2. The VSO and the VSF, the Vincentian Solidarity Office and the Vincentian Solidarity Fund. The VSO helps disadvantaged provinces to send projects to charitable agencies, and it has assisted them to raise more than $1 million every year. The VSO and the VSF are able to function only because of the contributions of the France Foundation, of several provinces, and of individual confreres, many individual confreres throughout the world who make donations directly to the Vincentian Solidarity Office and the Vincentian Solidarity Fund. 3. Patrimony funds for poor provinces. At least 24 provinces in the congregation now have their own patrimony funds, which we hope in the future, as those funds grow, will enable them better to serve the poor, better to meet the cost of the formation of their seminarians, and better to help take care of aging and infirm confreres. 4. A patrimony fund for the General Curia. The France Foundation has pledged to help the Superior General set up a large fund for future mega projects. Provinces, individual confreres, and other foundations will be asked to assist in building up that fund too. What might a mega project be, for example, in the future? Where might it be? Will it focus on mega health issues like AIDS or malaria? Will it focus on feeding or educating impoverished children? Will it focus on microcredit so that the poor might help themselves? Will it be in Africa? Will it be in Asia? Will it be in Latin America? That's up to the Superior General, with the help of the provincials and the members of the congregation, to decide in the future. But a large fund is being set up to help the Superior General focus on some mega project in the future. 5. The Commission for Promoting Systemic Change. The Commission has engaged in a wide range of activities. It recommended the microcredit project in Haiti, the Wise Money Management Initiative, and other projects. It has offered workshops on systemic change on all the continents. I've been privileged to be a member of that commission for the last 7 years. I'm about to finish. And it has been a privilege to serve on the commission. It's been one of the best experiences in my life. 6, 3 award programs. The General Curia and the Commission for Promoting Systemic Change have offered 3 different award programs over the last 7 years to promote creative projects within the congregation of the mission. 7, Wise Money Management for the mission. The The Treasurer General and the Commission for Promoting Systemic Change have offered programs on wise money management, and we'll be offering another one next month, August 9 to 11, in Paris for an international audience. 8. Haiti. The Congregation of the Mission, in collaboration with the worldwide Vincentian family, launched ZAFAN, a microcredit project in Haiti, in 2010. We're planning a new initiative for 2013, which will begin in just a few months, actually, a feeding program which will provide all the children in selected schools with a hot meal daily. We'll begin with more than 3,500 children getting a hot meal daily, and hopefully that will grow over the coming years. So these are initiatives of the General Curia. But beyond that, many of your own provinces have generously helped begin other initiatives like new missions, new regions, new provinces get started. And you've helped directly in building up patrimonial funds. Many of you continue to send personnel and money to the poorest parts of the world. I haven't mentioned any of those things. These are just initiatives of the General Curia, but much more is happening. And all of this is a sign of your solidarity with the world's most marginalized people. So that's a wonderful thing in the congregation, and thank you for it. Now, what else can be done? The article suggests 10 other possible things that can be done. And I'm not going to elaborate on these, I'm just going to list them. 1, consciousness raising about the call to economic solidarity. A lot of consciousness raising needs to take place, not just in the Congregation of the Mission, but in the world itself. Secondly, building up, increasing the patrimonial funds. I mentioned that 24 provinces already have patrimonial funds. It's important that those funds would grow and become a stable source of income for those provinces in the future. 3, clarifying the conditions for the use of the patrimonial funds. At present, different provinces have different conditions, and it would be good to clarify them and stabilize the funds as time goes on. 4, the use of microcredit in other countries as illustrated by our efforts in Haiti. We've learned a lot in Haiti, a lot. So, can microcredit be used in other countries in a similar way? If so, how? 5th, mega projects initiated by the Superior General. What form will they take in the future? 6th, further efforts to help provinces become self-sustaining. This has to be one of our principal goals as we look to the future. As Father Geddes mentioned, more or less half and half of the provinces are self-sustaining and not self-sustaining. How can we help more provinces in the future through some of these means become self-sustaining? 7th, concrete means for wise money management for the mission. How can we help provinces become wise in managing the resources that they have? 8, promoting a fully developed, fully functioning development office, which would help the worldwide congregation raise funds. 9, the creation of an international investment committee. This has already begun to take place. 10, developing concrete means for preserving and sharing the patrimony of the congregation. What are the concrete means that will help provinces preserve their patrimony so that they can use it well in the service of the poor? So, those are just some things that can be done. We're going to ask you later to think of more and others, and you'll surely have other ideas than the ideas I had, or Father Greg had, or Father Joe had. Our topic today, then, is economic solidarity. But of course, as the article that you read points out, there are lots of other forms of solidarity. Solidarity in mission, solidarity in prayer, solidarity in formation. Many of you do common formation. Solidarity in living in community, in international communities. People from different nations live one another and interact with one another. But our topic today is economic solidarity. All forms of solidarity are an extension of our baptismal unity, and also in the congregation of the mission, they're an extension of our vows that bind us together in the little company of St. Vincent de Paul as brothers who love one another deeply. And that means that each of us individually and each province collectively has something valuable to give to our brothers in community. While some provinces can't share their economic resources, there are other things that they can share. Solidarity must be much more than simply the flow of money from one province that has more to another province that has less. We must be very careful not to underestimate gifts that are not monetary. Rather, we must recognize all gifts as precisely that, as gifts. Each individual and each province has something valuable to share with other provinces and with the worldwide congregation. No one just gives. No one just receives. Everybody gives and receives. So, what do we ask?